Picture a single document reshaping the landscape of Europe. A treaty so pivotal that it removed a major power from the continent's high-stakes Game of Thrones. This is the story of the Treaty of Pressburg, an act that not only sealed Austria's fate but also redrawn the boundaries of power. In this tale of empires, we witness how Napoleon's ambition turned the tables, sidelining the Austrians and reshaping the future of Europe. Join us on a journey through intrigue, strategy, and the consequences of a single treaty that altered the course of history. In the tumultuous early 19th century, Europe was a stage for empires vying for supremacy. Amid this, Napoleon Bonaparte, a figure of relentless ambition, began his ascent, challenging the old order. His rise set the stage for a monumental confrontation. The Third Coalition, formed by Austria, Russia, Britain, Sweden, and Naples, was determined to halt the French emperor's expansion. But this was more than a mere military campaign. It was a struggle that would redefine Europe's balance of power. The coalition's efforts culminated in the Battle of Austerlitz, where Napoleon's strategic mastery was on full display. The crushing defeat of the Austrian and Russian forces was not just a battlefield loss, it was the prelude to a diplomatic game-changer. The Treaty of Pressburg, following this defeat, was a decisive moment. Austria, one of Europe's great powers, found itself excised from the power games, ceding territories and influence. This treaty was more than a peace agreement. It was a symbol of Napoleon's dominance and a turning point in European history. As the smoke of the battlefield cleared, the stage was set for a diplomatic reshaping of Europe. The Treaty of Pressburg, signed on December 26, 1805, was not just a peace agreement. It was a testament to the shifting tides of power. Austria, once a titan on the European stage, found itself cornered into making concessions that would alter its destiny and the geopolitical landscape of the continent. In the sweeping changes brought by the Treaty of Pressburg, Austria's territorial concessions marked a significant reshaping of the European map. Two regions in particular stood out in this geopolitical chess game: the Venetian province and the Tyrol. The Venetian province, a gem in the Habsburg Empire's crown, known for its historical wealth and strategic maritime position, was transferred to the Kingdom of Italy. But this was no ordinary transfer of power. The Kingdom of Italy, established in 1805 with Napoleon as its crowned king and later his stepson Eugene de Beauharnais as viceroy, was essentially a French client state. This arrangement gave Napoleon direct influence over the region, extending his control over crucial parts of northern Italy. The cession of the Venetian province was emblematic of the shift in regional power, from the traditional Habsburg dominion to the burgeoning Napoleonic sphere. Similarly, the Tyrol, an area known for its rugged terrain and proud local culture, was ceded to the Kingdom of Bavaria. This was not a mere territorial gain for Bavaria, but a strategic move by Napoleon to reward and strengthen his allies. Under the leadership of Maximilian von Joseph, Bavaria had aligned itself with France, becoming another client state within Napoleon's orbit. By ceding the Tyrol to Bavaria, Napoleon was effectively consolidating his influence in Central Europe, creating a buffer zone of allied states around his empire. This move not only rewarded Bavaria for its loyalty, but also strategically isolated Austria, further weakening its regional influence. These territorial rearrangements under the Treaty of Pressburg were a clear indication of the new order in Europe. Napoleon, through diplomatic and military might, was carving out a European landscape that answered primarily to him. The creation and empowerment of client states like the Kingdom of Italy and Bavaria were crucial in this grand strategy, allowing Napoleon to extend his influence far beyond the traditional borders of France. As Austria receded, Napoleon's vision of a French-dominated Europe came one step closer to reality. In a move that underscored the changing power dynamics, Austria was forced to recognize the French Empire's authority over Italy and other regions. This recognition was not just a formality. It was a symbol of France's expanding influence under Napoleon. The Treaty of Pressburg not only redrew the map of Europe, but also imposed burdensome conditions on Austria that would echo through its halls of power for years to come. The dual blow of financial reparations and military restrictions underscored the depth of Austria's defeat and the severity of the terms dictated by Napoleon. Austria, already battered by the costs of war, was compelled to agree to a substantial indemnity. This financial reparation was not just a monetary transaction. It represented a transfer of wealth that would bolster the French war chest while draining the Austrian treasury. The indemnity placed an enormous strain on the Austrian economy, exacerbating the nation's financial woes and limiting its ability to rebound quickly from the defeat. In a move that further illustrated Austria's weakened position, the treaty imposed limits on its military capabilities. Austria was required to significantly reduce its army, a condition that directly impacted its ability to project power and defend its remaining territories. This reduction was not just a numerical decrease in troops, it represented a diminishing of Austria's status as a military power in Europe. The proud Habsburg military tradition, once a formidable force on the continent, was now constrained by the will of a conqueror. These restrictions handicapped Austria's defensive and offensive capacities, making it less of a threat to France and more vulnerable to future conflicts and political pressures. Together, these financial and military terms were a clear manifestation of Napoleon's strategy to weaken a key adversary. By crippling Austria financially and militarily, Napoleon ensured that one of his most significant rivals would be sidelined in the immediate power struggles in Europe. This strategic weakening of Austria under the Treaty of Pressburg was a critical element in Napoleon's broader plan to consolidate his control over the continent and reshape the European political landscape to his advantage. The Treaty of Pressburg did not just conclude a military conflict, it triggered a seismic shift in the diplomatic landscape of Europe. The ramifications of this treaty extended far beyond the borders of Austria and France, influencing the intricate web of alliances and geopolitical perceptions across the continent. One of the most immediate effects of the treaty was the reshuffling of Europe's complex alliance system. Nations that were once aligned against France began to reassess their positions in light of Austria's dramatic downfall. Some states, recognizing the unstoppable momentum of Napoleon's conquests, chose to align themselves with France rather than oppose it, leading to new allegiances and understandings. Conversely, others were driven into resistance, galvanized by the threat Napoleon posed to their sovereignty. This realignment was not just a matter of changing partners, it was a strategic recalibration in response to the shifting balance of power. The Treaty of Pressburg significantly altered the perception of Austria and France in the international arena. Austria, which had been a dominant force in European politics and a leading member of the coalition against France, saw its influence wane. No longer seen as an unassailable power, Austria's diminished status opened the door for other nations to assert themselves in the power vacuum. Meanwhile, France, under Napoleon, emerged from the treaty with enhanced prestige and authority. Napoleon's ability to dictate terms to a historic power like Austria bolstered his reputation as a master strategist and a dominant figure on the European stage. The diplomatic repercussions of the treaty also rippled through the smaller states of Europe. These states, observing the fate of Austria, were compelled to navigate the new political realities with caution and pragmatism. For some, this meant seeking favor with France to avoid a similar fate, while for others, it reinforced the need to find new allies or strengthen existing ones. The treaty thus had a cascading effect, influencing the diplomatic strategies and survival tactics of both major and minor powers in Europe. In essence, the Treaty of Pressburg was a catalyst for a comprehensive reevaluation of diplomatic strategies across Europe. It demonstrated the consequences of challenging Napoleon and reshaped the way nations interacted with each other. As Austria receded to the sidelines, its role as a leader in the anti-French coalition diminished, and Europe entered a new era of diplomacy. While not directly stipulated in the treaty, the consequences of Pressburg set in motion events that led to the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire. Emperor Francis II, facing diminished authority and territorial losses, would eventually abdicate the imperial throne, marking the end of an era in European history. The Treaty of Pressburg was a momentous event, a clear indication of Napoleon's ascendancy and Austria's decline. It was a treaty that reshaped borders, altered allegiances, and heralded a new age in European politics. As we delve deeper into this period, we see the intricate web of diplomacy, power, and ambition that defined an era and set the stage for the continued struggle for supremacy in Europe. As we draw the curtains on this chapter of history, we are left with a vivid picture of a Europe transformed by the Treaty of Pressburg. This treaty was not merely a footnote in the annals of history. It was a monumental event that shifted the tides of power and redrew the political landscape of an entire continent. The downfall of Austria as a dominant power and the rise of Napoleon's influence marked a turning point, signaling the dawn of a new era in European politics. The story of the Treaty of Pressburg is a testament to the ebb and flow of empires, the fragility of alliances, and the relentless pursuit of power. It serves as a poignant reminder of how a single event can alter the course of history, shaping the destiny of nations and the lives of millions. As we reflect on the legacy of this treaty, we gain insights into the complexities of diplomacy, the strategies of warfare, and the ever-changing mosaic of international relations. Thank you for joining me on this journey through a pivotal moment in history. If you've been captivated by the intrigue, the strategies, and the dramatic shifts in power that we've explored today, then please like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating glimpses into our past. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts on the Treaty of Pressburg or any questions you have about this remarkable period. Until next time, keep the wheels of time turning.